Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at NDN TV Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button and be the first to get notifications.
A coalition of civil society organizations on human rights and civic spaces has identified activities of illegal refinery operators as largely responsible for the persistent release of soot into the atmosphere across communities in Rivers State. At a recent press briefing in Port Harcourt, the coalition challenged the federal government to demonstrate the political will to end artisanal refining of crude oil, which continues to impact negatively on the environment and compromise public health in Rivers State and other parts of the Niger Delta. Correspondent Ekena Miofuri has the report.
In the last 2 decades, several unemployed youths have taken to artisanal crude oil refining to eke out a living in the Niger Delta. The highly lucrative business thrives on stolen crude, which is refined into petroleum products with the deployment of crude technology. Over the years, the proliferation of artisanal refineries has created significant wealth for their operators and has equally cost the federal government billions of dollars. By November 2019, the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (NEITI) reported that the country had lost about $42 billion to crude oil theft in 9 years. This was in spite of several military operations launched by the federal government to safeguard crude oil infrastructure in the region. Based on its findings, the coalition of civil society groups reports that constant flares from artisanal crude oil refining is largely responsible for persistent black soot in Rivers State.
We had an opportunity to do an overfly, over Port Harcourt. You could see the refineries have tripled. Looking around the creeks, the entire creeks that make up Rivers State, there are splinter spots of, burning of crude everywhere. The appearance of the soot has to do with, the artisanal refinery going on in the state. All over, everywhere is gone, completely gone.
If it continues like this, I'm not sure that in the next 20 years, we'll have a place we call the Niger Delta.
Rivers State, which came under the siege of black soot for the first time in 2016, accounts for one of the highest proliferations of artisanal crude oil refineries in the Niger Delta. Over time, artisan operators of local refineries seem to have perfected their art, as they are now able to refine petroleum products that communities in the most remote parts of the Niger Delta depend on for their economic survival. It was in recognition of their innovation that had contributed significantly to availability of petroleum products nationwide that the federal government in February 2017 promised to convert artisanal refineries to modular refineries.
Those young men and women who are involved in illegal refining, our approach to that is that we must engage them by establishing modular refineries so that they can participate in legal refining, not illegal refining. And we are committed to making sure that the young men and women of the Niger Delta are properly engaged.
The government subsequently encouraged local crude oil refiners to form cooperatives and pool resources required to acquire licenses to operate the anticipated modular refineries that are unlikely to come on stream anytime soon.
They've actually come out to form cooperatives as I speak to you. They are very willing to leave the artisanal refining and then move into a formal way of refining. But government statement hasn't been taken serious by government itself. And most times when they came out, we put them in cooperatives. And today, if you call them back, they feel we want to endanger their lives. They are not more ready to come out because when they came out before, it never worked.
Licenses were to be given to people, and that would have curbed the problems that we're in today. But none of that happened because those statements were made not because actions was to be taken. It was because they needed to calm your nerves.
Owing to the moribund state of Nigeria's existing 4 refineries that have operated far below capacity till date, the business of artisanal crude oil refining has continued to flourish at huge environmental costs in Rivers State. Consequently, local communities have had to contend on a daily basis with the menace of black soot and other manifestations of environmental pollution associated with artisanal crude oil refining in Rivers State and other parts of the Niger Delta.
Constant inhalation of these things over a long period of time will lead to cancer, reproductive health issues. Little kids are going to suffer delayed development. We are going to have children with more Down syndrome, and it will also affect their academic and cognitive abilities.
While they look up to the federal government to walk the talk on the anticipated modular refineries, concerned civil society organizations in the Niger Delta also want the National Assembly to expedite action in the passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill, which seeks to transform operations in Nigeria's ailing petroleum industry.
Inside the Niger Delta,